Well, our sponsors at Roswell Park are doing their part in recognizing Breast Cancer Awareness Month by hosting their annual mammothon to encourage more women to get examined. If you or someone you know is hesitant to schedule their mammogram, you can listen to my conversation with Dr. Bonaccio from Roswell on why it's a good idea to make your appointment today. Annual screening mammograms saves lives, and here at Roswell Park, they're not only providing their expertise, but also the convenience. And I'm here now with Dr. Ermelinda Bonaccio to share more about it. So, Dr. Bonaccio, first, thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Well, you guys are known for these very fancy 3D machines, so tell us a little bit about them and why they're so special.
Well, these are 3D mammogram machines, or tomosynthesis. They're essentially a better mammogram. So women will be a little disappointed because you still have to have your breast compressed. But the good news about it is actually that it is more sensitive, meaning it finds more cancers, and it's less likely to have a false positive, meaning you're less likely to have to come back for some additional pictures just because the tissue overlapped a little bit.
Well, I know that you have two teams, one here at Roswell Park, your downtown location, as well as Breast Care Western New York and Williamsville. So tell us about both of those teams and why they're so special for the imaging.
So essentially it's because it's the same team. We have two locations, but it's the same radiologists who read your mammograms. We are all fellowship trained, dedicated breast imagers, and it's our same group of wonderful technologists. We just rotate down there. So you're essentially receiving the same care at both places.
Well, how has the development of imaging technology changed not only the detection, but the diagnosis of breast cancer?
So I think one of the biggest changes has been tomosynthesis, because it is a significantly better mammogram. And then the other areas that have been interesting has been breast MRI, which is a whole other way of looking for breast cancer. It is probably the most sensitive way to find breast cancer, and we use that specifically in the high-risk population. So one of our goals is to improve identifying women who are at increased risk of breast cancer, because they may need to not only start having their mammograms at a younger age, but also having breast MRI in addition to the mammograms.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because most women know that when you turn 40, that is the time to start getting your screenings. But there are those risk factors that women might want to know about to make sure that they're getting those screenings earlier so they can detect anything that might not be right earlier. So do you want to talk about what some of those risk factors might be?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's very important to know your family history. Oftentimes people not necessarily want that to be dinner conversation, but to know if you have a family history of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, even other types of cancer may put you at increased risk for breast cancer. In fact, the current recommendation is that all women undergo a formal risk assessment at age 25. So I encourage young women to ask their primary care doctors, to ask their OBGYNs for a risk assessment so that we can truly identify those women at a young age and potentially start screening at a younger age, not just with mammography, but with MRI as well.
Now, a lot of people, a lot of women are not very good about getting their annual mammograms, and they're a little bit anxious about it. So what do you have to say to those women that are anxious or not very on top of making sure they're taking care of getting those annual exams?
Right. I think I really have two messages. I mean, I think as women, we often take care of other people, our families, and you just have to prioritize yourself. And the bottom line, the importance, you said it at the beginning, we know that annual screening mammography saves lives, and it's scary. We know we're looking for breast cancer, but when we find it, we can take care of this. And we, especially at Roswell, most mammograms are normal, but if there is an abnormality, if there is a cancer, you have this incredible team behind you who will take care of you.
That's right, and we talked also in my introduction about the convenience of Roswell, right? You don't need a prescription, you can call.
Right. We really try to remove all the barriers. We have separate parking location so that you don't have to use the ramp. You don't have to have a prescription. If you've had your mammogram someplace else, we will get that prior mammogram for you. We really try to remove all barriers. If you have, if you're underinsured, we will work with Cancer Services Program to help make sure that that mammogram is covered and you're not stuck with the bill. We'll very much work with you to get rid of all the barriers. barriers.
Well, Dr. Bonaccio, thank you so much for talking about this very important topic. Viewers out there, if you're a mom, a sister, a wife, we always put so many people in front of ourselves, but it's important to take care of yourself and take the time to get those screenings, and you can do that right here at Roswell Park. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Roswell Park has a goal to help 525 women get examined by October 4th, and you can help our sponsors reach this goal by visiting roswellpark.org/mammography or by calling 1-800-ROSWELL.